So you decided to pick up Ravenswatch and you're a brand new player and you're dying, or maybe you're just like not really knowing what's going on as you play through the game. Worry not, I decided to get a fresh install of the game. In fact, I'm playing on the brand new Switch version in order to do an overexplain, like front to back, zero to hero for Ravenswatch. Now, I don't have too many characters to actually try this with. I have the choice between Scarlet, Pied Piper, Beowulf, and Snow Queen. So in this circumstance, I'm gonna play Scarlet. This is a very fresh install. In fact, I've never really played on the Switch at all. So I figure this is probably the best way to go about doing an over-explain full run of Ravenswatch. Now, of course, the game is broken up into different acts. We're starting off in Chapter 1, The Dark Hills. If you want to know, like, better play of further acts, just, like, skip ahead until you reach that. So every run of Ravenswatch starts off the same way. You have your character, you have a starting talent, and then you have the map. This is a look at the map. I highly recommend checking the map first before you do your skills, even though, like, it kind of goes out of order. Right now, we have a vision tower and a chest. So there's no, like, immediate hard gameplay that we have to do. These are both, I guess, easy tier events. So that means we choose our talent. We don't have to get something that needs like immediate power. We can go long term if we want with something like Devour. Devour only works when you're using your werewolf power. So technically this will only activate at night. Our power is of course our ZR or R2 if you're a PlayStation player. I also recommend checking the shop before you do anything. Sometimes the dreams that are here sort of dictate the direction you're gonna go in. So for example, get a common magical copy of an object that you already have. This means that whatever I get from that chest, if it's a common item, I will probably want to come back and grab this. There's also dream shards give you damage. I do believe this is retroactive, but if it's not, you can always come back and grab this before you go to a wishing well or something. If we get a lot of money, we can upgrade any of our talents to legendary. This is kind of a stretch goal, if you will. As a fresh install, I don't know if I'm gonna get 250. Then finally, we have Fast Walker Boots. This is move speed, but armor down, 350. So if we were to look at the map, if there were a lot of money nodes, then we'd go for those. So while we're looking at the map, we can't really plot out a full course of this run. All I can say is that we are guaranteed to go for Vision Tower first. Reason why is that the Vision Tower will always get you to level 2. Not every monster in the game is gonna do that for you. In fact, you'll see I am not contesting any of these monsters that I walk by. Instead, all I want is the money, and then I'm gonna keep walking. If I were to aggro something, they will chase me, but up into what they call a leashing distance. The leashed monster will go back to where it came from. Most of the time, they will completely disappear from view. Other times, they actually walk backward. But this is the Raven's Tower we want. Now, Scarlet's abilities, I didn't really go over those, but what she does is that she has a basic attack that stacks up a combo meter. The combo is basically a spender for your R2 button, and you may find some other stuff as you play through that spends combo points. We killed everything. We got our Raven Tower, which does reveal the map, and of course we get the level up. So here is the next set of objectives. There's a couple of things that are really important here. First off, we got revealed a Grimoire. The Grimoire is a fight event. You're timed. That means if you plan on doing this, you need damage. And we know the first thing we picked for our talent tree was not damage, at least not until nighttime. And even then, it only gives you 0.5 damage every time you get a kill. So by the time it's night and I get to the Grimoire, this will probably not be very strong. The other thing we revealed was Sacrificial Altar. This does give us damage at the cost of like half our HP, and it's very close, so I should probably do that. And then the last reveal is the locked chest. This thing is going to require a key, which we don't have yet. It's also yellow. Yellow would be the next tier up in difficulty after green stuff. And that doesn't necessarily mean you can't do it at all, but it's a locked chest anyway. I can't get rewards from that. I also see there's a wishing well too. This is an objective that's surrounded by monsters. We will have to kill those monsters, but then you spend gold at the wishing well. We know that we had a couple of like spin gold things at the Traveler. The Sandman, I believe his name is. So that is an option for us. However, let's go for that. Oh, we have a level up too. We're gonna go for the Sacrificial Altar. So we have our list of talents here. I see one is legendary, but let's look at both of them. Evisceration, each combo point spent by your power applies damage dealt in the form of bleed. So remember, we're gaining that combo stack in the form of those daggers. R2 applies the bleed. And if you don't know what the power is, the game always tells you what the button is to the right of the talent. And then you can just look down at the bottom of the screen and see ZR is your dash. If you really don't know, you can always back out of this screen, open up your map, and then you have the ability to actually look at your stuff. Your talent tree never actually goes away until you spend that point. And there's like really weird stuff you can do with that later on, but we're not gonna get into a beginner's guide for that. The second thing, aggressive defense. Every time you use your defense, you deal 100 damage around yourself. And it tells you what the defense is. In this case, it's my A button on the Switch, circle on PlayStation. It's a cloak. I'm gonna take this, not because it's legendary, but we haven't really gotten into the cloak gameplay yet. And not gonna lie, 100 damage for basically nothing is very nice. Now, I didn't teleport. Teleporting is a very important thing you can do. I could have teleported my way up to the Sacrificial Altar, because every one of these purple icons is a travel destination. It's a checkpoint. You can teleport to these from anywhere on the map. And I could have done it from the Raven's Tower, but I remembered there was money here that was very easy for me to take. Doesn't require me to do a lot of work. I'm gonna teleport over here. There are some times where walking is faster than teleporting. For a beginner, I wouldn't really stress about that. If you have the ability to teleport, I would say you should teleport. Now remember, I have a quest to complete here. These are very easy monsters to take out with R2. And I do want to farm these up. I don't want to just sit here and bash everything. I want to actually get the use out of my talent. Now also keep in mind how I'm playing this. So a big thing in Ravenswatch is the fact that your dash, A, it has a cooldown to it, and B, it is not infinite. You will actually take damage because you don't have iframes for the dash itself. So in that case, you'll see me walk quite a bit, and I'm taking my sweet time doing this. Another way to dodge attacks is what they call intangible. That Y button right there, that allowed me to dodge the ghoul, that was an intangible move. Let's go back to the travel station so I can kind of show that a little bit. In single player, you are able to pause the game. If you're in multiplayer, going into your map does not do any pausing. So looking back at our abilities, Scarlet has a trait where at nighttime she transforms into a werewolf with new abilities. During the day, she regains human form. We have our basic attack. In werewolf forms, you do claw swipes that do damage on their own. Every 2 attacks gives you 1 combo point, which I think is the same for Scarlet. We have our bite. Rush the closest target while intangible to bite it, dealing damage. Spend all your combo points to increase the damage. And then finally, leap. An intangible jump followed by a ground strike, dealing damage around the landing zone. Then finally, we have defense, which is Howl. This is different than it was for Scarlet. We'll show it again once we get back into daytime. Howl gives you 50 armor, and then your attack and your power gives you lifesteal. And it only lasts for 5 seconds, but this is almost like you will never not want to press that button. So, as I said earlier, intangible is a way to dodge attacks without having to rely on your dodge roll, which is, in this game, like a very important resource that you can't just spend willy-nilly. So we spent half of our HP to get back some damage from Sacrificial Altar. Now we're gonna go up to where the treasure chest is. Now, watch how I'm basically skipping every monster that I can. And the reason why is that in Ravenswatch, you usually get most of your levels from objectives. It's not really a good idea to waste your time fighting things that aren't going to give you XP. I mean, they do, but it's so small, so negligible, that you would be better off just racing to the next objective. There we go, another bite. We are already halfway done with our objective. Open up the chest, and here's our reward. So we have damage per vitality, after dash get crit chance, and healing orbs grant us strength. Now we're very early in the game. The only thing that we have done thus far is we know that our B button, sorry, I just realized is B on Xbox, but on A, I'll just say defense. Our defense is leveled up to do damage around us. There's nothing in here that really affects that except maybe the after dash get crit chance. And then we also know that we will duplicate this once we get to the Sandman. We can also take a brief look at the map and see is there anything that's actually going to help us out with our decision making. And I do see that there is a plus sign, like a first aid station, very close to us. And funny enough, those give you vitality. So Ogre's Blood, while leveled up, will actually give us additional damage. And of course, that's not that it's retroactive, but it's always checking your vitality value. Now, also notice that I am not teleporting back to buy that Sandman duplication. I'm gonna walk. And the reason why is that I have no teleports on this side of the map. Ooh, there's money here. That usually does not have a teleport assigned to it. I do definitely want this thing though, and I'm willing to fight for it. That's my B. We'll get a bite. One thing that I didn't mention is that you actually cannot do objectives while you are in combat. Oftentimes, I will just straight up run away from the objective just to get the monsters to leash, and I can come back. So it's now daytime. I unfortunately don't have any teleports near me. So for the sake of time, I'm gonna go ahead and do this objective. That's one thing I actually didn't talk about very much is time in Ravenswatch. Time is probably the most sensitive topic because you as a new player, you may not realize how little time you have. And I'm not saying that you need to like giga min-max your way through the game, but I'm just here to try to like educate some good practices. So rather than double backing, looking for that teleport, not teleporting, then doing the teleport back to base, and now I have like no means to get back to this side of the map, I'm at least going to traverse as much as I can, hit anything I can that doesn't lock me out because I'm in combat. Now you could brute force your way through some of those crystals. There's nothing necessarily wrong with that. But I, for one, let me give you an example. That's how much damage I do. Not really feasible to do that in any meaningful way. There is a Raven's Tower here. Still no teleports. Now, I have a little bit of power. Ooh. Now, see how I took a bunch of damage there? I had no means to dodge roll because I was snared. But I had different ways to go intangible that I just opted out of not doing. Her R2, just like werewolf form, does make her intangible. So it gives you some dash. Her B button, her defense, I'm always gonna say B, I think, also makes her intangible. Also, watch how I leveled up and got all my life back. So sometimes what I'll do is, if I know for a fact I'm going to level up, I get a little more in your face with the monsters. That's within reason, of course, because you could always die to monsters. Don't think that they're actually gonna pull their punches. So we got a new level up. We have the choice between Short Wick, Human, Special no longer affects you, and the bomb explodes instantly, and then Special applies Ignite to all enemies and gains a crit chance. Now, we also have the ability to reroll. Reroll is the X button on Switch. You spend 1 star, which you can see my total resource is 3 down at the bottom of the screen. And we could try to fish out something for power since we have the werewolf trait, or we could fish out more stuff for our defense because we have that 100 damage when pressing defense. In this circumstance, I'm actually going to get short wick. This kind of changes the gameplay for your Y button because now it's faster and it no longer hurts you. Well, it stuns her in human form. So that kind of decision, I don't mind making that, even though it doesn't increase my power level. What it does do is it gives me new ways to play the character. Looking at the map, a lot of things have shown up at this point. I actually could have teleported back if I wanted to, but again, I have no teleports to get back to this side of the map. We have a Raven Feather. That's going to give us a revive back. As a fresh install on normal difficulty, you have 6 revives. That's 6 chances to beat the game. And if you fail, you can buy a revive from that objective for 100 gold. We have a lot of dream crystals here. That's a lot of money. And technically we do have wishing well. So that might be the real routing we want to do, is trying to buy out that wishing well. Remember, we also had some really nice objectives from the Sandman. We have our locked chest with our key. That key is going to allow us to open that up. We have a red difficulty treasure chest up here. So that is the maximum difficulty for this map. The large crystals are also red. And then finally, I have a side quest here. The side quest is always pigs. It's one of 3 pigs. We'll know what kind of pig it is once we get up there. I also know that the pig quest has a teleport to it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wrap myself up there, first hitting this one, which has a teleport. It's also kind of nice to use her abilities for movement. I think even her defense gives her move speed. Maybe not, maybe not. That looks exactly the same. There's our teleport. Our pig is a stick piggy. Now, as a new player, you don't really need to know the difference between straw and stick and stone. You just need to identify the location, and then the first time you do the quest, then you'll be able to know what it does. All right, I got out of my aggro. I'm gonna teleport all the way back down to the beginning, spend my money to duplicate my shard. Now, you could actually, save a little bit to get the other legendary talent. That's gonna hit either your passive, which is the Werewolf Devour, or it's gonna hit the bomb. Both of those are good options. I will probably try to buy out the entire shop because I have so many dream crystals. The first thing I'm gonna get is this golden egg, because again, I'm not 100% sure if it's retroactive. You can always check it once you go back to your map, and I can see that we're getting +1 damage because I spent 150 gold. So that to me makes it seem like it's retroactive. I don't have any more money, so what I'm actually gonna do is I'm gonna go over to the Grimoire. This is a green objective. We have 2 damage things now. It's also nighttime, which is gonna be really nice, so I can farm up my ability some more. This has a teleport tied to it. So keep in mind that the Grimoire, the Raven Feather, the quest objective, all have teleports so far. And that always happens. There's something chasing me. I'm just gonna let it leash. If it comes all the way up here, nope, it's gone. Let's go ahead and start. So during the nighttime, you have no idea what kinds of monsters are gonna show up. For example, if there were pigs, pigs actually have different behavior at night than they do during the day. Now remember, this is a timed event. If I have to take damage, then so be it, so long as I'm not A, dying, and B, I'm actually doing damage. But keep in mind, if I didn't have some of these damage abilities, I don't know if I could have actually cleared this in time. I'd rather go for it later for the guarantee win than not. The Grimoire gives you what they call, I believe the game calls these consumables. We have Vitality up, Armor up, and Crit Chance up. Now, we know for a fact that we have Ogre's Blood, and we will be duplicating that. So this is an easy decision to take Vitality. However, if I didn't have that, then this is kind of up to how you want to play the game. If you think you get hit too much, go for Armor. If you think that you want to be like Glass Cannon and just blow everything up, go for Crit. And then Vitality is a nice like medium in between the two of those. So we'll get Vitality. If I go to the right, The only thing in this area really should be this Master Nightmare. This is the boss of the map. You do not want to go here while there's still time. I could try the path upward. There may be a couple of small objectives here. Maybe I could find something nice. We still need to find more yellow objectives before we're like really confident into going into either red or going for the stick piggy. So what I could do is I could path myself to the right and then identify if this is either a yellow zone or a red zone. Now, being that I'm at level 3, I could easily go towards the stick piggy now. And now that I'm thinking about it, I probably will do that regardless of what this objective is to the right of me. Now, as far as game progression goes, this map is already half done. If you look at the bottom right of the screen, there is a bar there, and that bar is how much time I have to get through this map. Okay, so this ended up being a refugee camp. This is something actually brand new. Actually, I'll kill this. It's taking too long to leash. And I kind of need my power stacked anyway. So if they want to fight me, then they're just doing me a favor. Alright, so this isn't exactly a yellow objective. However, the refugee camp will oftentimes want stuff from you. And to be fair, I don't have a lot of money to spend. So what I could do is I could leave the refugee camp until I get more money and then teleport my way back here. And that might be the right thing to do because I actually have to teleport. Let's actually travel all the way to the piggies. Stick Piggy is gonna have us to clear out some tree camps that are in the area. Unfortunately, one of the camps is one I've already done. There are 3 total, they're marked on the map. So this one happened to be the Yellow Raven's Tower. I don't know what this is. It's probably tied to the chest. And then this one is tied to the Dream Crystal. And you'll see what I mean by it being tied to it. Let's go ahead and head to the one that is closest to me. We're like decently close to level 4. Okay, so here is the objective. It's treants. Killing the treants will give us wood to pick up. Now, treants are not easy monsters. Notice how like I'm doing a lot of running around until I have my buttons. Be careful about getting smacked. Go for the things that are probably a more guaranteed kill. I also don't really want to waste my bites on the spiders. I feel like that's kind of a waste of my damage because the bite does really, really high DPS. I can kill them all in like 1 Y and then bite the straggler. Actually, our quest is done. That's great. So the reward for the quest is our power now has a 40% chance to reset on kill, and that's in both forms. So now both Scarlet and the werewolf have an advantage from this. Let's pick up all of the twigs on the ground.
Easier than picking blueberries.
The quest itself, you can see the progress in the top right. That pig wants 15. I got 8 from just 1 camp, so it's really likely I'll get 8 more from the next camp. We have our next level up. We have Cleave, which has a chance to do a cleave when I attack, or after I power, the next attack within 3 seconds delivers a flurry of slashes. Both of these are very good. The slash flurry probably has like a better chance of coming into my build. But what I'm actually gonna do, I'm gonna do 1 reroll since we haven't done that yet. And now we have maximum combo points is increased by 2, and our power has a chance to crit per combo point. But then also murderous intent, our defense gives us 2 combo points. This is a tough call because these are both very nice. One is epic and the other is not. I would say in most circumstances, take the epic thing. However, I'm actually gonna take murderous intent. Reason being is we now have the chance to reset our power if it kills. And this gives us 2 combo points to spend towards that power. And you can kind of do like a wombo combo because our defense does damage. Kind of like this. And then our R2 might actually pop them. Now that's only on kill, however. So if we don't get a kill, then we ain't getting no reset. Now the nice thing about Scarlet is that because her power gives her movement, I can actually use that as an escape. So if I'm inside that giant aura, that thing was about to smash the entire map, I could just R2 my way out of it, even if I don't have a dodge roll ready. Open up the chest. Remember, this was a red objective, and we kind of cleared it really easily. Here we have a choice between power damage, when not in combat, heal, and then dash cooldown reduction. Now, I would say as a new player, I would really avoid Queen of Hearts whenever possible. If you think about it, not in combat means really just being in an objective that's already done, or being back at the main shop. And to just wait at those areas to heal up is a waste of time. Most of the time in Ravenswatch, you're running through different enemies, so you're rarely out of combat. I'm gonna get the easy one here, the power. So with that done, we can teleport back. Oh, but before that, there's a healing fountain near me. Now, this one is a little tough. Depending on how difficult these monsters are, I would not do this. However, if we think about Scarlet's abilities, her defense actually puts her into a cloak, and I'm able to sneak some objectives. And that's like, it's really a feeling sort of thing. Like, you'll realize that as you play through the game more, but that's also reading. Like, as you read through your different abilities, you'll start to understand how you can kind of utilize them a little bit better. So here's our objective. We have to protect Godric's house. Godric like I'm in Elden Ring or something. This isn't really that hard of an objective, depending on what monsters show up. I happen to get like a pretty easy choice here. These ghouls don't really take a lot of work for me to actually take out. And you'll see that even if I take some damage, all I really need to do is go and pick up a healing orb, and I'm usually fine. Using my B button, the cloak if I'm in danger, using the reset whenever we can. I haven't really gotten it very often. My ability, my power, isn't like super strong. The pig's house, it has some defenses to it depending on how much you actually got from the twigs. If a small spider's beating on it, I don't really worry about that all that much. It's a small spider after all. But really, I have to make sure that I'm keeping myself safe. I'm taking out the big monsters first. Sort of like reverse MMO rules, where like typically you would take out the ads. Here, the ads don't really do anything to the house. I'm better off doing this. So this gave me level 5. Level 5 is actually my ultimate. As a fresh install, I only have the choice of one. In human form, I can shoot a shotgun, does damage in a wide cone. In werewolf form, I do continuous damage with gusting roar. I can't choose anything else, just take the thing that's on the screen. After I finally clear out everything at the pig house, this one ghoul just in the way. I get some XP for it, and then my choice of legendary magical objects. Here, I can deal damage and execute enemies at low HP. My defense now restores HP, or I can get some rerolls. I'd say the rerolls aren't half bad as you're like a little further into the game and you know different kinds of items that you're going for. As a fresh install, I maybe wouldn't take this just yet. As a fresh install, Holy Grail is actually very good. Every time you press your defense button, you just heal 17. If you ever thought that you don't have enough healing on either your character or for the game as a whole, you get Holy Grail. And then finally, Vorpal Blade, really good to just taking out enemies, especially if you have a character that does Ignite or any kind of like constant damage. In this circumstance, I gotta take Holy Grail. I really don't think I need it, to be honest. I've been relatively safe this whole time, but we'll grab it. Looking at the map, I still haven't done either of the money objectives, and we have 4 minutes left. So let's rush our way over there
You smell that?
and try to get at least that one that has the key in front of it. If I'm lucky, the key is like actually in the objective. I feel like I've never seen that happen before. No, because it's usually protected by something. Okay, so there's my key right there. I'm gonna go for these monsters. I probably aggroed a lot of stuff, but it should be okay. My hope is that they do disappear. I can actually use my ult to try to help clean this up a little bit. Remember, you are on a timer. Ideally, you don't waste your time doing stuff that doesn't matter. Now watch out for the scarecrows. Those explode on death, and I have lost quite a few runs because of that. Spider is almost dead. Oh, I forgot to mention that this game has poise meters on all of the, like, bigger monsters.
Fight is stronger than my bark.
Alright, what am I aggro to? It says I'm still in combat. Check the edges. I would say that it might be like a bug that you're actually aggro to something. That took me about 2 minutes to clear that objective,
Shiny.
which is not ideal, but we happen to get a lot of money from that. I'm up to 284. So let's head over to the chest. I could go for the big money that's next to me. If I have enough time, I could probably route my way from this chest up to that objective. Now, I'm trying to do my abilities in a certain order. It's kind of important for me to get those combo stacks in order for me to do my bite. So that's down. That didn't take me horribly long. Open up my chest. And now my reward from this chest is actually 2 magical objects. Remember, magical objects are different from the consumables that we got from the grimoire. Now, these are some nice choices. We could get the leprechaun coin, which gives us more rerolls from the Star of Fate. Every reroll gives us money. We already have golden eggs, and we'd be getting 2 more, which is very, very nice. One thing I didn't mention, if you look at the bottom of each magical object, they have a times number on it. Times 5 for common, times 4 for rare, times 3 for epic. If you get 5, 4, or 3 copies of that magical object, it will give you a bonus effect. As a fresh install, you do not know what that bonus is. We're very close to the golden egg one, so we may as well grab this. We're now at 1:50 on the clock. So we have to really think about, like, what can we do in 1:50? It took us about 2 minutes to clear the dream crystal on the opposite side. And that's with, like, maybe not the best gameplay. My ult is up as well. If you are not confident that you could clear this, simply go back to the shop and then buy out the things that we were talking about in the beginning. I know, as I said earlier, some people find that they can actually kill these things on their own, like break the crystals without actually doing the monster fights. However, I don't think I actually can do that. So I will kill them, and maybe it's better that I kind of show you me killing them, aside from like just blowing up the crystals. Look at this. This is what I meant by sometimes you're aggro to stuff, and maybe it's a bug, maybe not. But ideally, that ghoul would walk up to me. Now, you could try to just auto-blow these up, but you cannot walk away. This game does not allow you to pick up gold from across the map.
Few more shots for my best.
Alright, so all of that's done. I'm now gonna teleport. I have $500 to spend,
Back without a scratch.
which is a lot just to say that, especially for a fresh install. So let's duplicate our magical object, which is what we said we were gonna do earlier. I'm gonna get the move speed here. I know it reduces our armor, and you will go into the negatives. However, I did pick up Holy Grail, which does have healing to it, and we have some nice intangible abilities. We'll get the armor back, don't worry. And then finally, with only $125 left, you have to make a choice here. if you cleared the wishing well, you could run up and try to get one of the rewards from the wishing well. If you don't think you can do that, then simply level up whichever talent that you're doing the most and getting the most value out of. In this case, it's probably between the reset chance from Devour or the special recharge timer, which again, this gives us iframes. In 40 seconds, I'm gonna test my luck and see if I can race up to that wishing well. There's really good chance I can't, but for the sake of this vid, I'd like to see if my ult will actually clear this out. And we got the move speed. That's like really noticeable. So I'm just gonna ult the piggy. Clear those out. Try my best to take this thing out. Go for the reset. I did not get the kill, so I didn't get the reset. Very sad.
What danger?
I was able to kill them though. 50 bucks. We ended up getting a consumable out of it. As I said, we'll get that armor back. Let's do that right now. In 4 seconds, I don't have enough money to get this last piece. So there you have it. That was not even a full clear of the map, and I left a lot of objectives. Now we're on the boss. Every time you go through the chapter, you have this boss to look forward to. Now the boss itself has some variations to its abilities. This one happens to be like inner ring, outer ring. I'll ult this. And you don't have to though, like I'm doing pretty good damage. I can't get a reset to save my life though. Now, I didn't mention, you see the color of that ring? That is an undodgeable, unintangible ring. Try to get the most damage I can. Remember, I can stand in my own bomb. There you go, there's that ring. Like, I could, for the sake of argument, show myself actually eating it. I'd rather not. Okay, cloak, avoid some damage. Don't forget that our cloak actually does damage on its own. It's like AoE around itself. So we could do something like punch, punch, cloak, R2. And that's like one dead tentacle. Y button, punches, make sure you dash away from the ring. Even the tentacles have a poise meter. Now, as I said, I took some defense down, but I feel like I'm not that far off. Ooh, that is an unlucky transformation for me. Let's bite, and then immediately use our ulti. Nice, that's enough to kill. I kinda didn't think it would be. So, ultis are good. And that kind of goes without saying, right? But sometimes it's better to just use your ult knowing that you're gonna get it back. Like, don't save your ult for that like one pivotal moment where you think it's gonna matter, because the whole game is timed, except for the boss. And you can think of the boss as a war of attrition anyway. Like, it might kill you simply because you aren't healing anymore. There's good chance that you just need to be using your ult whenever you can. Chapter 2, Storm Island. This is where, if you haven't died yet on a fresh install, Storm Island is probably where your first death is going to come from. Keep in mind, Ravenswatch isn't really a roguelite. It's closer to a roguelike with a K. So there's not really any permanent progression that makes you stronger. The only thing the game offers you is more talents that you didn't have in the beginning. And half the time it's because they're too complicated. But, like, technically speaking, perhaps with more choice, you are a stronger player. But in reality, your character's not really any different. So, map 2, we have 2 objectives, and they are very, very different from each other. I have one green objective, which is the Raven's Tower. Thank you, game. I'm gonna go for that for sure. That identifies objectives on the map and gives me a little better idea of where I want to go. I have a yellow objective, which is a treasure chest. That's the next difficulty up. And then I have the quest, which is probably like in red territory, depending on like visually where it is. Now, you may think yourself to be like very strong coming from the first map, but don't assume that just because you could do red objectives on the first map, that doesn't mean you can do yellow on the second map. The game does scale up the monsters pretty well. So, let's check the shop. Before I leave, time is paused until you leave the shop area. Here, I have duplicate rare magical object. That's important. Because, remember I said that we have the golden egg. If I get 4 of these, I actually get a bonus, and we can possibly duplicate this. It's RNG though, it's a 50-50 shot to duplicate this from the Sandman. If I were to do, let's say, for example, a treasure chest, and the quest has a blue magical object in it, then I'm like bloating the pool. I'm going to like a 30%. So let's not go for treasure chests and go for money. There's also upgrade 2 randomly chosen talents. That's $200. It's probably gonna hit my commons, which are 70 apiece. So it's actually less economical for me to do the Sand of Knowledge until I have little to no commons left. We again can upgrade something to legendary. And then finally, an Oni mask is in here. Damage up per magical object, vitality down per legendary magical object. Sorry, that's damage per cursed magical object. So we already have 2 curses. Oni mask plus the boots. We also have 1 legendary, which is the Holy Grail. I'd be losing ogre blood damage by 1 in order to get like plus 30 damage. So that's also really, really good to take. However, that's a lot of money. There's no chance I will be able to do all of that unless the map is like very money heavy. However, I'm gonna go to this thing. Now, as I said, this map, not easy. My combo was able to kill 2 things, which is nice.
Here it comes.
Probably like a crit or something? No, I don't have crit in the kit. Break the poise, slide through, didn't even get the reset. Oh, wow. There are birds on the map and eggs that explode. I think the eggs are always accompanied by at least 1 bird. And of course, the egg can hatch into a bird. So that is like immediate combat. And again, thinking back to Queen of Hearts, isn't gonna do anything until I actually kill them. So we got the reveal. We have a new sacrificial altar, which is very close to me. I will be doing that. Grimoire, which I do have my ult up. So I don't mind heading for that because I can just ult the objective. And then Wishing Well. And again, like, I don't think I want to spend money outside of Sandman. We also level up. Maximum combo points came back with the crit chance. I'm actually going to take that.
Amazing.
Now I don't have to like try to optimize my attacks with my defense button in order to get like the correct number of stacks. I can just spam it. I'll kill this. As I said, I could cloak and ignore it. About to say I've aggro to something else. There we go. Oh my god, again. Did this come from the egg? That's like 10 seconds I just wasted. Teleport back. We will head to the Grimoire, where the thought process is I have my ultimate, and I feel like it should be fine. Now, this is actually pretty good. For this video, perhaps I fail, which would be a problem. Try to... Ooh, that's not good. I'm not really a big fan of the Wolf ulti. It's very good at like breaking the poise of monsters, but it's also very unsafe. Got the reset. Oh no, what a dodge. I'm gonna have to eat some damage, I think, to make sure we don't like lose the objective. Try to think of the wolf as like a drain tank. Being able to get the lifesteal from it kind of like extends Scarlet's health pool, but of course I can only do it when I'm in wolf form. So we have consumables, 120 bucks. Knowing full well that we absolutely need money is very smart here. If that wasn't the case, we could go for critical hits, deal extra damage, because we happen to get the epic crit rate talent. Let's grab this. I do have a teleport in case we need to go like to that yellow chest that also has a like healing shrine, I think it is, next to it. Might be kind of smart to do that. However, right now we're doing the duplicate. Of course it hits the king, which is fine, like we need the damage. But it would have been nice if it hit the egg. Let's head over. We are not... Oh, there's a white dot on the map. The white dot is actually this thing. We have to clear out these. Look at that, full HP. Ah, the stupid bird. All right, so this is a corpse. 1 in 2 chance to get either 10 armor or lose 25% of your maximum health. I'm pretty sure that's just like you take damage. That's not max health loss, right? Yeah, it's just like you take damage. One thing I also didn't talk about a lot of is that monster behavior changes between night and day. During the nighttime, the wolves are asleep. So a lot of times you can sneak objectives. Even if you're not playing Scarlet, I can take out those crystals and get money. Best case scenario, they might be asleep at like a Raven's Tower or something. But a monster like that guarding that money, I'm not gonna clear that out. That's gonna either A, take too long, or B, cause me to take damage, assuming I wasn't Scarlet and couldn't just heal that up. This objective right here has a teleport. This is actually the optional boss, which we did not see on the first map, or we didn't uncover it. It's in green territory, which is nice. We don't know what the boss is. I think it's a Djinn, which is like this thing, except in hyper form. Continuing to walk a little bit more. It looks like we're probably gonna have to do the yellow objective, which is not what I would like to do. I'm gonna teleport upward. Will I? No, let's see what this objective is. Okay, that's what they call a tumor. Killing that will reduce the maximum HP of the boss of this map. I do not go for those early because I really need to get my character scaling upward. This objective is a yellow Raven's Tower surrounded by 1 billion wolves all awake at night. Wonder how that happened. And try to break some of their poise. Use our ult. Clear out as much of it as I can. That was not half bad. See what I mean about like using your ult like just willy-nilly? Like sometimes you have to. So that's our reveal. Apparently not a lot of green objectives on this map. It's probably because it was eaten by Wishing Well, optional boss, maybe even the Raven Altar, which gives you a revive. If you think about the locations on the screen, you can sort of plot out where each difficulty is. Green happens to be at the top. Yellow is like a strip in the center. And then red is like at the bottom. It's not always like that though. So just like keep in mind when you get your map reveal, try to like think about where green is probably gonna be. Where yellow is probably gonna be. So there's more money. We already got the duplicate. So it's okay to go for the chest now. If I'm lucky, this chest will actually level me up. I'm gonna kill these. These are very annoying monsters. 2 of them are healers, as you can see. Just like in MMO rules, the healers need to die first. Most characters will not like out DPS the healers in this game. I'm getting like no resets. I'm just now realizing. We're probably gonna need to level that up. Because to be honest, if I were getting resets, I wouldn't have to stand there and do nothing like I just did. Each combo point spent by your power applies bleed, special applies ignite, and has crit chance. I'm using my power potentially a lot, especially if I get those resets. And we get a lot of combo points. So let's do that. Open up the chest. Here we have some interesting choices. We have at critical health, regen yourself. Remember, I have Holy Grail, so I already have somewhat of an answer for healing. Ultimate cooldown reduction, always a good thing. Queen of Hearts, we talked about that before, not a big fan. So in this case, I'm gonna reroll. Now we have, when taking damage, get a shield, not too bad. Special charges gives me more bombs and more slams, or defense charges. And remember, our defense is the legendary 100 damage spin. Very, very nice. We do that. I'm a little blocked here. I'm gonna go all the way around to get this healing shrine. However, I'm in combat because of the stupid egg. With 2 defense charges, I'm able to like spin, R2 spin. If I got the reset, it would be even stronger. Because I'm so dead set on the reset, no pun intended, let's go up to the shop and we're going to level that up. Now, there was, like, get a talent to legendary. This is RNG. You cannot control what this does, nor can you control Sand of Knowledge. So I'm going to be doing Devourer manually.
Tremendous.
Next one costs us 120 with a 80% chance to reset. I assume at legendary, it's 100%. But the odds of me landing that is like astronomical. I'm not even gonna bother trying the legendary thing unless I get like a crap ton of money. Look at all the wolves, by the way. I was gonna say I could double spin. Got the reset. Oh my god, that hurt. I have my ult too.
Take this.
Taking a little bit of damage that I don't really appreciate here. But that's why we use the ult. And remember, Scarlet's ult has charges too, so for me to actually just sit on it is equally a bad idea. Looking at the map, there's a couple of very interesting things to point out here. So there are 2 optional bosses and a lock chest. What that means is that there should be a guaranteed 2 keys on this map somewhere. Now, that could be an actual objective that gives you 2 keys, or it could be a random key is just laying around somewhere and I have to find it. I think the odds are it's actually a double key quest somewhere. I'm gonna head to the left. My assumption is that there's no more objectives in this quadrant. I think that, like, looking at the roads as well, that this one objective took up this entire block. Like, this New York City block is already taken up. I'm gonna head over to the Dream Crystal. I have $173. Another body has been discovered. 1 in 2 chance to get either a reroll or lose even more HP. I don't think I need the reroll, so I'm gonna skip. Leave the body untouched. It looks like it's either do it now or don't get it at all. If I'm in combat, because I got aggroed by crabs just then, you can use your defense to heal off Holy Grail. I think that only happens if you're in combat, though. Look at all this crap I have to deal with. Got the reset.
Stand back.
They were already dead off just the B button, just the defense.
Danger.
Did not get the reset there. Defense kills. 400 damage with just my defense. That's really strong.
For my purse.
$350. As I said, if you were to walk back, all of this section that you have identified, you do not have access to because you did not get a teleport. I now have the teleport. It happens to be the double key quest. Now, it's gonna take me, I think, 12 seconds to teleport back, spend my 350, and then get back to this. I think that's okay to do. As a new player, again, I wouldn't really say to start thinking about, like, to the second how long something will take you. However, I know for a fact that I want this Oni mask. Reason why is this is 30 damage. We're losing some vitality from our ogre's blood. That doesn't really hold a candle to how much damage I'm getting from the mask. That's also gonna come into play a little bit later once I get this objective done. Now, they've done a lot for this game in terms of changing how people think about routing. My routing has changed now that I identify what's on this map. We have a Phoenix to deal with. Ow. We have our lifesteal, don't worry, don't panic. The crabs are one of the most difficult monsters on this map because they have essentially perfect armor against everything in the game until they get knocked over. Once they get knocked over, then you do full damage. Just like that. That was wave 1. This objective actually comes in 2 waves, and if you lose the first wave, you have to do the whole thing over again. If you lose the second wave, you have to do the whole thing over again. I should also mention, in case you didn't see, the monsters actually have, who have poise, a shield next to their health bar. That shield is actually like damage reduction. They're taking, I think, just straight up 50% less damage while they still have their poise. Sometimes it makes sense to like break their poise, then do your attack. The crabs work the same way. However, a lot of times I will just do all the damage I can because like just beating on it until that poise is gone, sometimes that takes too long than just hitting it in the first place. All right, I got double key reward. So this is where perhaps being a new player, you may not recognize this, but because I have a little bit of knowledge, I do. The optional bosses have cursed relics inside of them, cursed magical objects. And there are 2 bosses on the map. There's also the red lock chest. If you either A, were not confident in your ability to kill an optional boss, or you don't know about the fact that they dropped cursed objects, then taking this key and going for the lock chest, probably the smartest thing you can do. It's also on the way from a sacrificial idol, which again, gives us a bunch of damage. I know for a fact that I want these cursed objects. So I'm gonna be heading up to the first boss, and this boss is not a cakewalk. I could die right here. This thing does have a poise meter. Wolfie, let's get some iframes. That's our first bite. Again, I have to do these instead of just sitting there. This is a hard ability to dodge. You can try to like intangible your way through it. Or I guess in my case, I'm kind of like healing my way through it. I don't really like that. These ones are a little bit, oh wow, they are not easy to dodge at all. Again, I'm walking a lot. Ad phase. This may have been a circumstance where I should have popped my ulti. We have good healing. Not ult for these, but ult for the boss itself. The issue is that I don't know the boss's abilities all that much, so I'm kind of like flexing my ability to heal myself on wolf form. If I was on scarlet form, that might not be as easy. All right, so bullet hell again. It looks like maybe you could dodge this relatively easily. All right, Scarlet. Scarlet's gonna have an easier time dealing with this boss, I think.
Take this.
First shotgun, broke the poise. Second shotgun, good damage. B, dead. I said B again. Defense is what I mean. Our reward from that, 3 cursed objects. Taking damage gives you dream shards. Lose all dream shards when you die, but get 50% more. Or dash now gives you intangible, which is again something we talked about before, but now you take even more damage. And I still haven't gotten my armor back. So in this circumstance, it's Hope Diamond all day. Even if you died and lost all your dream shards, if by the time you had like a lot of money, you should probably just go spend it. I have $1 right now. I am not concerned about losing all my money. Right now we have 7 minutes left and a lot of objectives. Again, there's another optional boss. There's probably something down here in this block, maybe even something in this block. We also have the sacrificial idol, which is gonna cut our HP in half, but there's also a healing fountain. We also have the tumor. I think that I will not be going for the side quest. The side quest gives you a legendary object, Remember, we lose some vitality for taking those, but now in 7 minutes, it's better for me to think about what's good use of my time. I think good use of my time is the optional boss. Oh, I leveled up. After using power, the next attack is a flurry of 5 slashes. I could try to re-roll to maybe hit something special related or something power related. As a fresh install, there may not be much of that left, to be honest. Wow, you can see the power. Adding bleed to the enemy, that's like really nice. Oh my god, I almost died. Now, what happened there was I walked into bubbles and didn't really respect the crab at all. This is a different kind of optional boss. This is actually a dungeon. You have to actually clear the monsters in this dungeon. You cannot skip them. This is a mandatory fight. I basically lost all of my power damage just then. However, oh, 1,000 damage. That's so good. That's kind of a combination of our cursed objects and the fact that we boosted up our power in multiple ways. See, this is me trying to break their poise. Break. Did not get the reset. That's so sad. Break.
Anybody else?
Looks like our maximum damage is probably 1192. More crabs. Very annoying. Dash. Got the reset. Defense. Did not break their poise, so I'm not gonna dash. I don't know if the Y has like additional poise break to it, but it seems to do like a very good job. Oh my god, there it goes again. A very good job of breaking through the shells of crabs. Now, I don't really have like a good thing to say about like the bubbles and stuff like that. That's like just reaction. I see that I'm taking a bunch of damage and I'm doing the dash to get out of it. Typically, I'm dashing through the monster or I'm dashing to the side. I will need to be ulting this, but ideally we break that poise. I'm also very familiar with this monster's moveset, and that's kind of like just something that you learn over time with roguelike games in general, is reacting to what monsters do. Oh my god. What a big hit. Just in time for me to transform. Open the chest. Big vitality. Remember, we are getting damage from Ogre's Blood for vitality. If I did not simply have an Omen mask, or Oni mask rather, I would take it. However, Hungry Grass here gives me stacking damage for picking up those orbs. That's not gameplay you have to think about. Don't even say, oh, let me try to like spec into healing orbs or something. Just if you see them, pick them up. Next on the list, Sacrificial Idol. So see how I'm kind of playing through this? I'm not just going to anything on the screen. I'm actually trying to think up. Oh wow, found that last key. I'm close, like I'm already here, right? We're trying to make decisions that make sense. And I like to think in Ravenswatch, it's not really a matter of, oh, it's just like perfect Dark Souls style gameplay. It's all about decision making at the end of the day. Of course, you could beat any game with just like raw good gameplay, but because you're on a timer in Ravenswatch, it does actually matter what you have in the first place. We got our key, Sacrificial Idol, because we're here, a couple of healers. Again, I'm familiar with the monster's moveset. I know it's gonna dash at me. We could iframe our way through it with our lunge or with our slam. We got options. I'm gonna teleport up to get the heal here. You may say to yourself, V, you don't need the heal because you have a defense that has 2 charges and heals yourself. But keep in mind, this gives you vitality. Vitality is max HP. And remember, we lost a lot of armor. It's gonna be kind of annoying to clear out these crabs. So annoying, I almost be at the right mind to just ult these things. But I have patience, it's fine. All right, we got some more vitality. I think it's faster to teleport. I just missed money above me, but that's okay. Again, I'm not trying to like giga min-max my way through it. Really, my whole goal is to over-explain the thought process of playing the game and try to give you at least some insight as to what kind of decisions you want to make. You can't make all the decisions. Sometimes you're not gonna know what's the right move until it happens. This is not great. This is probably an ult. And I still might die. I'm willing to like walk around out of my way. It's these things. Oh, I missed the bite. That's so bad. Bite. We don't have the life steal. We're close though. Got it. With the intangible bite too. So that was a lot of damage I took. And there's healers too. Ooh, not a good time to transform. Again, I'm utilizing Scarlet's kit to go invisible. Intangible. I should probably use the right terminology, huh? And that's essentially my damage reduction. Open this up. There it is. The last of the golden eggs. Now, the other options are really good too. Dash charges is more dodge rolls. That's like really important in this game. Ulti cooldown, also very important. But let's show, at least for the sake of this, what it looks like to have the dream shards. Collection complete, 30% additional money gain. I have 1 minute, not even. I have like 40 seconds to do this red crystal. And there's a lot of junk in the way too. Oh, did I go on the wrong side? No, I didn't. We're gonna have to cloak. Try to get the reset. I got it. Again. Got it. Again.
Here it comes.
Nice. 26 seconds.
Few more shots for my purse.
Look at how much money I'm getting. I do like to think of Ravenswatch as a little bit of a busted build hunter. Of course, gameplay, first and foremost, is how you win most of your games, but if you have really, really good stuff, it certainly helps. So what do you do with all this money? $700. I think ideally, you would get legendary talent. This is $250. I think it's most likely to hit a common. I think. Let's try it.
Yes, this is a most
Boom.
choice.
So our common evisceration went to legendary. Now I have $400. Again, it's not good economics to do Sand of Knowledge until this is clear, this is clear, and this is clear. Now I'm gonna save 40 bucks by doing this.
Ah, I can see you've thought this over carefully.
Good use of our money. The other things up here, these are consumables. I could get a Star of Fate, or I could heal myself to full. As a new player, I would highly recommend not doing these whenever you can. There's very niche circumstances where, yeah, the game probably needed me to go and buy my HP back. But remember, if you have those healing shrines on the map, you should probably try for those unless you know for a fact you will die. But again, you have 6 lives. So I'd rather honestly die and go down to 5 lives than buy a gingerbread man for 50 bucks.
Go forth and protect Reverie from the shadows.
All right, so that is clear. There's objectives on the map I didn't do, and I think that's okay. I think the current state of the game, the odds of you getting every single objective on the map it's a little slim, especially if you do those optional bosses. I needed to do those. That's where so much of my damage came from. Here we have the second boss. Faceless Master Nightmare. This thing goes, oh wow, into different phases. Depending on, I don't think it's the cycle it's in. I think it's based on damage dealt to it. It might be cycle based. I'm using Scarlet's intangible form. for like most of my dodging. Now I'm in Wolfie form. We can do Y for intangible. As you see, I took 0 damage there. Ow. Phase 2, bunch of eyeballs. These you can get resets on. Look at this. I don't even need to press B and get combo charges. Oh, we have to... Oh my god, that hurts. Did I not get a reset? Oh my god, when you don't get the reset, you do some like really bad decisions. Don't be like me. Always assume that you didn't get the reset. Remember, we have a lot of power. So that in turn leads us the ability to just clear out bosses in one phase. Just like that, chapter 2 is done. Next chapter is potentially the end of the game. And again, if you haven't died at this point, as a new player, the next map may kill you. I don't know if this really counts as a beginner tip, but one thing that I did during this recording is I'm coming back the next day. I actually saved my progress after the chapter. Basically, after you beat the boss, the game allows you to save your progress and it will close down the game. Obviously, this is not possible when you're playing multiplayer, but in a single player game, you can always stop and then come back for the next chapter at another time. So let's do a little bit of a recap to understand kind of how we got to this point. We're in chapter 3. The first couple of chapters were about making the right decisions for our talents, not really picking things that don't make pretty much no sense for our own build. Whenever we get a treasure, a magical object in this game, we're trying to make sure it's the objects we want. We're also trying to fulfill those requirements by getting duplicates. When it comes time to spend money at the Sandman, we're only spending money where it counts, making sure we don't overspend where it's not required. And then finally, for the map itself, we're pathing in a way to hit the right marks that we need, as well as funding either money if we need that, or magical objects, or both, and not trying to hit every single objective on the map if we know that's not really possible. We're also making sure we're not going to an objective too early, running a risk of dying in the process. Now, on chapter 3, the map, not very good. Basically, consider that this entire bottom section is green difficulty. None of it is identified. We can go to the left. There's guaranteed to be something in this block. There's probably something below us, and then maybe 2 more on the side. And I'm really just going off of like game feel of how many objects I expect to be in that location. As a new player, you may not know that, but just try to visualize what it's gonna look like at the end. Looking at the shop, we have dash crit rate. We have another defense charge. We know that that's been really important, so we may want to get that 250 and come back. We can upgrade 2 more talents. That's pretty good value as well. The dash charge, maybe I don't care about that all that much. So let's go ahead to the left. Now, this map in particular is pretty difficult as a new player. Wow, double key reward already. Again, I consider that to be a pretty difficult event. Even though it's in a green difficulty tier, I mean, I guess for the sake of argument, let's just check this to see how difficult it really is. I consider this event to be not very easy at all. I am pretty strong, but the big issue with this is that you're fighting against really high tier monsters. Like, these are monsters that don't show up until a little bit later in the biome. And I think in the event of doing these too early, you could actually just straight up lose. We got the level up. Attack around me has a chance to cleave. Special does ignite and gains crit chance. I do still have to do my attack, so I will take the cleave. There's a really good chance that there's not really a lot of options for me that's left in the first place. Are you healing? Yeah, we do not want that. Oh wow, I thought I had my B button, my defense. All right, took that out. As I said, these things hit really hard because it's, in my opinion, considered a higher tier monster. And we have to do 2 waves. The second wave has 2 healers assume these things are not considered healers. But then the monsters themselves do boss attacks. I don't know if that's spoiler really, but basically consider that these things are sort of teaching you how the bosses are gonna be. I guess for as strong as I am, that wasn't obnoxiously bad. And to be fair, I think the number of monsters it thrown at me was not that bad. However, I would still consider the double key reward, double key objective as something that's like pretty high tier. Sorry, I'm wasting my time here. I meant to teleport. So that was probably like a good 10 seconds lost. Again, not that big a deal, but I really wanted to teleport after that event. Let's head downward. We're probably passing by, oh, here we go. Money, maybe a health shrine. Typically those would pop up on the map. However, sometimes they spawn in the very corners of this biome and you don't really know that they're there. These witches are oftentimes a problem. You have one that teleports and drops bombs, and then the other fires out a laser beam. This is where you really have to be moving a lot. Unfortunately, their dash is only gonna go so far, so you really need to move, watch the attack go by you, then you can actually hit it. We got a new power. We'll grab that from a green chest. That's actually really good. I don't know how lucky that is, but I'll take it. We continue to head to the top right. The way how this biome is broken out, there are stairs that separate each area. Typically it's by difficulty as well. So you would imagine that the next step up is yellow. This is the optional boss, which again is probably gonna give us a cursed object. We're probably running low on cursed objects, to be honest. Again, I don't consider that the best thing to do if you are still trying to power up your character. I am pretty strong, so I'm going to just pretend like I'm a little bit weaker and go for the true objective, which is the Raven's Tower. Also notice I'm level 9. In typical gameplay, level 10, oh, that is bad, though we healed quite a bit. In typical gameplay, level 10 is actually going to be the limit. So consider level 9, where we got the cleave attack. That's the last time I'm going to get a talent that is specifically like completely open to my character. Level 10 is going to be specifically for my ultimate. And we'll be seeing that in just a bit. I can teleport upward. We did get the map reveal. Let's take a quick look before these things aggro me. We have a choice between... If you consider that we have to go up these stairs, right? Each stair is a portal that may have a fight or money inside of it. It's all RNG. There's no real way to know which stair is the money one. However, we know we're going to want to go up left. Sacrificial idols here, dream crystals here. There's also the side quest. And we will be doing the side quest in this event. We'll do another teleport. The side quest for this area is in 2 parts. The first part is fighting against a bunch of monsters. Makes sense, I'm sure. Wow, I actually lost my combo stacks. And then the second part is the actual like boss. I'd say like doing this as soon as you come in, not always the smartest move, but I believe these monsters are... Oh, I went in the wrong thing. Okay. So, as I said, there are stairs that go into the next area, but the optional quest actually spawns right next to the stairs. Always make sure that you know the difference between the two. This is what the quest looks like.
They shall not triumph.
These are not easy monsters in the slightest. Again, I'm strong, so I'm pretty sure I can take these. If this was at a higher difficulty level, not like difficulty as in nightmare or something, but a different stair level, there would be more monsters here to be fighting.
Many thanks, brave.
Here's our level up. As I mentioned earlier, level 10 is only going to give you a trait to your ultimate. So we were effectively done on choosing character talents at level 9. This gives us Fiery Maw. Our ultimate has more range and can ignite enemies, which is just like raw damage. Morgan has teleported to the next quest location. You can teleport your way out of here, but sometimes it's just faster to walk if the stairs are right next to you.
They're no match for me.
And usually that is the case. We did get lucky and got the free money out of this stairwell. I will be going over to this thing right here. Damage is increased, though we did end up adding a bunch of lost health to us. One thing I should have also mentioned, again, behavior changes between day and night. So these gargoyles are actually breakable during the day. And then they spawn to fight you at night. And a lot of people will try to tell you, please destroy them. But unless you have really good armor breaking capability, I struggle on breaking those, the same way as I struggle with crabs. All right, so we're in yellow territory. Can't seem to get 3 charges on my power. Slide back through. Missing all my bombs, but that's okay. Remember, a lot of our power comes from our defense rather than my basic attack. But obviously the defense isn't infinite. I do have to press other buttons in between then. All right, I have a lot of money because again, I have that cursed object. So I'm gonna go ahead back right now. Get that extra adder stone. That's gonna give us another charge of our defense. Just like that. The next step here with all of our money could be to start investing in these two. Getting a legendary for 250 would hopefully hit one of our epics. All that together is 280, 120 plus 160. So if it does hit the epic, this is actually really good value. It hit my legendary, actually. I did it? Is that a thing? I already had evisceration, right? I'll have to look at the footage to see if that did hit the legendary. Either way, like, that's best case. We're gonna teleport back up to the top. If you look at the way how the road is lined up, there's a nice little square here. This square is guaranteed to be some kind of objective. Again, we're skipping content that we don't need to be doing. It's gonna be a waste of our time. Really inconvenient teleport. I'm just walking. Try to use our power because it goes intangible. Our Y button is also intangible. I've gotten a lot of my health back at this point. But notice how, like, I can't dodge roll that much. I think that's really one of the first things you need to realize is that dodge rolling is a very valuable resource that you can't just outright blow. Let's head over to the treasure chest. Remember, we have 2 keys, by the way. So the optional objective is an option. But I'm playing this as if I'm not, like, super strong and I can't just immediately go for it. Hit every wrong button. Like, I'm basically trying to die at this point. Even my own ulti, I can't really pop it for free because there's a good chance that I have to dodge roll out of it. All right, so with these dead, we didn't get super lucky. We could have gotten the last piece of our king card. There's also the possibility that more eggs show up. So even though getting cooldown reduction is really nice, I still have 1 reroll left, and I am willing to use that. So we got an additional special charge. We have more damage on Dream Shard spent. So this, if we were to assume that I didn't have all these golden eggs that are all like activating, I would probably go Thunderstone here. Thunderstone essentially gives us another intangible. The Y button is enhanced. It's triangle, I guess. It's X on Switch. It is enhanced so that we actually get, I believe it's crit rate from actually using this. But we'll take the golden egg, continue to stack that damage, allowing us to blow up monsters before I have to use the intangible. I'm gonna just check down, just for the sake of argument. Because sometimes people will think that, but even though this block is so large, maybe there's 2 objectives here and I need to like identify this entire diamond. That's not the case. Clearly there was one in the center, which we already got. We know what this one is. It's a nightmare tumor. And then over here is actually the other optional boss. So process of elimination here. If this is the side quest, the odds of something being right here, it's a little slim. And then the next step up are all red objectives. Now, the way how the optional bosses is on, I think, every map is that one of them is in a dungeon and the other one is outside the dungeon. The ones outside the dungeons are timed. This is a timed optional boss. If you do not have damage yet, do not go for any of these kind of events, even on the other maps. The one that's in the dungeon is not timed, so I can probably go for that. I just want to show, you know, sake of argument here, is there anything in this corner? There is. It happens to be a raven's feather. Not something that we're going to utilize, but of course, if you had lost some lives and you don't have a lot left, even as a new player, you may want to consider buying a new one. Let's head into here. We're going to power ourselves up before we do the actual quest for Morgan. This happens to be wolves. We have to clear a number of basic wolves, which I might even just use my ulti to get through this faster. That means I probably won't have my ult for the actual boss of this encounter. But consider like how short is your ulti cooldown. Maybe it would behoove you to use it now, and then by the time you get, or maybe I just die. Unpause, please. The fact that I'm playing Scarlet means I technically have a cooldown reset on my ult, so long as the day changes. Alright, so here's the actual boss. I died. This is sort of a knowledge check. I just don't know that it has a big sweep. I need to go intangible. I don't know if you noticed, I did try to dodge roll my way through it, and that just was not the option. One intangible is all it takes. Let's ult. Ow. Almost killed me through that second ult. And that's me like not being patient and watching what the boss actually does. I also didn't try to break its poise. I just went for the kill, which is technically fine, but not very good for my life bar. So we have more choices. We no longer have rerolls, and if we get a legendary magical object, we will be losing, I think it's 10 vitality. So what we have here is Black Lotus. Black Lotus is sometimes a skip depending on what character you're using. Basically, your attack, and only the attack, not your other buttons, has 5% lifesteal on it. That means you need to be pressing your attack button to heal yourself. If you have to be using a character that does not care about this, then you're not going to get a lot of lifesteal. Scarlet does have a lot of attack opportunities. I kind of want to take it because it's another cursed object. But there is a scenario where that was like maybe not the best move. I'm going to go down here to grab this healing shrine. Let's take a look at the healing. So I heal 6 per hit. I do not lifesteal on my defense. And now healing orbs no longer heal me. I'm still picking them up because they're part of one of our other things. Oh, I lost all my money, right? That's a little sad, but it's gonna happen. Think about how much value we got out of that money before I died. I think that's actually not that big a deal. Let's head into this quest. I think it is possible to do this before you do red objectives on this map. I find the red objectives to be fairly difficult, and this boss is, I wouldn't even really call it a knowledge check. I think you could possibly clear this on your first try if you just realize what the boss is doing. So we're fighting against a nightmare version of Arthur. He's gonna do this, which is just like a circle of flames. Probably won't kill you. The real kill is this thing, like the double cleave attack. This is a boss where you probably want to break his poise. There's a bunch of skeletons that are attacking the Yggdrasil tree. I typically ignore those. You could try to use your ulti to help clean them out. Nice. And of course, I have a lot of damage here. But imagine this fight is on a extended timer. The timer is basically the life bar of the Yggdrasil tree, similar to the pig quest. The skeletons multiply that timer, so it gets progressively worse as you take longer to actually kill Arthur. But it's really not that bad in my opinion. I think you could do perfectly fine just focusing Arthur down, especially if you can break his defense. Our reward, we have dash now heals us if we dash quickly. If you don't know anything about the magical objects, this is a very easy take. Father times hourglass, all of our abilities have cooldown reduction based on our missing health. I would not take this over Swan Cloak. Maybe there's a couple of builds out there where you may consider doing that, but as a new player, probably not. And then Excalibur, bonus damage for each legendary talent you have. We do have multiple, so this is a good pickup. However, we will lose 10 vitality because of that cursed object. In this case, you're just considering, like, can I out DPS whatever the game throws at me? I'm gonna teleport up. Check out some of these red objectives before I do that optional boss. I'm kind of into thinking that the optional boss is harder than red objectives because it's timed. We did not get lucky. Such an inconvenient transformation, but that's fine. Oops. One nice thing, Wolfie is very good at utilizing the lifesteal that we picked up. Scarlet is too, but this thing actually like rampages whenever you do your power. It's very nice. All right, so looking at the blocks, guarantee one here, and then one here. Let's check sensor first. We're now being chased by witches, which are very, very annoying. They can also block your abilities. I'm now cursed. And they're very hard to hit, too. We're probably gonna take an L here. Again, this is why I don't recommend going for red so quickly. But we have the 4 lives. Lady, please. All right, one down. This was probably my fault for like leading these witches into that area. As you learn the game, you'll start to realize like which monsters need to be dealt with immediately, and these witches are one of them. So let that be a lesson to, if you aggro witches, assume they will not leash by the time you get to the next objective. I'm also not doing a very good job of dodging the knights. They attack many areas around each other. Just lifesteal my way up. We also have our ult. Another big issue with these is that they all have defenses. So the kind of damage I'm used to doing, like I can't just one-shot these, I have to actually fight them. Hit that. Quick eat, you're dead. We're down, what, 2 lives at this point? Red chest happens to have some good stuff in it. We have defense cooldown reduction, and then dash cooldown. For this build specifically, we're of course getting defense, but if you didn't have something that was defense focused like I do, you would take that dash cooldown, I think. Let's head over to the left, see what this objective is. A lot of monsters out. At this point, maybe we consider that we do need to clear these, because all that's gonna happen is that they train inside of the next fight. I could try to, for example, wrap around to the bottom to cause them to sort of skip and leash. However, like, look at the pathing. If I were to go all the way past Wishing Well into here, there's monsters in here too. If I were to path downward, there's a good chance they don't leash at all. because I'm still close to their original spawn point. All right, so this happens to be a healing fountain. We're gonna get some of our vitality back. I am full HP, so you might think this is a waste, but the vitality is very useful. We still have Ogre Blood too, so Ogre Blood actually wants us to have some kind of vitality. Those are okay to leash, they won't chase me. Basically just the witch with the broom, that's the problem. Objective. Does this mean that it's 1, 2, 1, 2? We'll see. All right, we know that witch is the biggest issue. Take her out immediately. We have one more. Got the reset. Funny enough, I'm not getting that many resets on my R2. All right, take that out. So in the time we had, we only have 40 seconds left. That optional boss is still up. So let's talk about the decision to go for these red objectives instead of this. I can tell you that this red objective is one of each witch. The laser witch, the broom witch, and the bomb witch. It is possible to do them, absolutely. But I figured I could maybe get 2 red objectives in the time it takes me to do this. If you're a new player, considering that the red optional boss might actually just straight up kill you. I know I died up top, so that was basically a signifier that I probably would have died to the optional bosses anyway. And it's a timed event, so the longer I stay dead, the easier it is for me to lose that event in the first place. So in the 40 seconds I have left, with $400, we have the choice of either A, going for Wishing Well. Wishing Well could give us a couple more epic magical objects, or we could head down and buy the legendary talents, which we know for a fact will increase our damage with Excalibur. As a new player, I'd recommend going down to the shop, spending your $400, and actually getting guaranteed damage. However, I'm not gonna do that. I'm gonna go over to the Wishing Well. It's gonna take us like 6 seconds to teleport, but then we can go directly up the stairs. I'm gonna ult these, because there's a little bit too many. And let me show you what the reward is. So red Wishing Well, first off, is the most expensive Wishing Well. The green one starts off at $50. Yellow starts off at $100. This starts off at $150. The reward for the first object, I've heard people say that the tier of Wishing Well, this one happens to be red, does not affect the rarity of magical objects. I can't hard confirm that for you because I don't have, based on the number of updates they've done, I don't know that. But what I can tell you is $150 is very expensive. I think it's probably more worth your while to buy out the Sandman than it is to do this event. The first one is $150. The next one is $250. The third one is going to be $350. That is not very good use of my money, considering I could have gotten legendary objects. Well, not objects, legendary talent. I happen to get attack up, which is okay. We're going to get defense cooldown. Again, that's a big part of our kit. And now we only have 7 seconds left. Can't really do anything with that. Even if I were to try to teleport to get down here, it takes me too long to do the teleport animation to even get over here in the first place. Alright, so, boss. This is Act 3 boss. It's a 2v1 if you're playing solo. These have 2 different kinds of attacks. One usually does big hits around itself. The other one typically shoots at you. The goal is to kill them both, preferably at the same time. That's not always going to happen depending on what characters you're playing. And this fight isn't very melee friendly, I'd say. So you're going to be doing a lot of dancing and a lot of iframes. I don't know which one's which. I just go for whichever one happens to have either the most HP at the time or which one needs to get whittled down. So I'm just gonna go in and try to hit both as much as I can. Again, that's an unblockable, unintangible move. I'm hitting both because I got really lucky here. Okay. This is just because I'm like very strong. But typically what's gonna happen in this fight is that you're gonna knock one and then you need to go and knock the other one, especially if they're really spaced apart from each other. And then I'm gonna have to like DPS as much as possible. They both get up. They probably change into the next phase and do probably like a second round of abilities. And then we would try to knock them again. And hopefully, like, if they're on top of each other, you could do a lot of DPS. And that's, like, really good. However, I got super lucky here, and I'm really strong. That, in turn, gives us a win. Fresh install, first run on Scarlet. Really, what carried us through here was the build itself. The magical objects. Not so much the abilities, though that was, like, how we actually did damage. Having those defenses allowed us to like get instant damage on the monsters, get combo stacks to power our the R2 button, and that was based on pathing. We pathed correctly, chose the right objectives, and we didn't kill things we didn't have to kill. Whenever you win or lose in Ravenswatch, you are rewarded based on the amount of things that you've done. You also unlock the next difficulty. We got Twilight difficulty. We got a new character, Aladdin. We got 373 points for our first victory, which I think is actually really low. And that's just based on the game. There's not anything you can do as a new player to help that out. But you would get points based on the number of like optional bosses you did, the number of quests you did. I don't even think about that. Just think about playing the game as much as possible without uninstalling. The more you can do that, the faster you'll get to like fully unlocking every character and every ability. I don't think there's a guide out there for like the fastest way to farm points in Ravenswatch. But there you have it. An overexplained guide, hopefully for newbies. I'm sure there was a lot of like intermediate or advanced gameplay that I was showcasing there, and I apologize for that. As someone who has a lot of hours in the game, that's gonna happen. But my hope is that I could talk through each bullet point. If I happen to miss any, like if you still have questions that weren't covered in that overexplain, please leave them as a comment, and I'll try to piggyback that with either a new comment or even like a YouTube shorts or something. If you like what you saw, subscribe to the channel. We play lots of roguelikes here, and feel free to ask for other overexplains that maybe we can do in the future. All right, thanks for watching today's video. I hope you all enjoyed it. I'd like to get you all the best content that I can. If you want to take a moment, like the video, subscribe if you want to see more, ring the bell notifications so you can get those. You could also consider supporting the channel by becoming a channel member. All of those are links which are in the description. Just scroll down and you'll see them. Either way, thanks for joining in, and I'll catch you on the next video.